All right. All right. I am going to do the Spider Matriarch times times a few here with different characters to see how the different characters fare. I've already done the fighter, so I'm going to move on to the remaining characters. That is the Barbarian, the Ranger, the Valor, the Circle of the Land Druid, the Warlock, and the Frost Sorceress. I've planned for this collective playthrough with kind of moving through the game simultaneously. Some people die along the way and others make it out. The Barbarian has approximately the same gear setup as the fighter, with the Holy Lance helm to take care of the small spiderlings. In this case, the adamantine scale mail, which removes the critical strikes and also reduces incoming damage, which seems to be taking care of a lot of the problems in Act 1, having one of these items from the forge. And Wondrous Gloves for extra armor class. And of course, those can be changed around for other options at this point. Probably that's not going to happen. And then Boost of Speed, which could probably be probably the Disintegrating Nightwalkers are better for this. And then she is a great weapon master. But for this, it's definitely a better situation to be in here. She has the Psychic Spark currently and the Ring of Poison Resistance to deal with the poison damage, and the Ring of Protection here to deal with the poison and the armor. Obviously, the Titan String Bow, with the high strength, the Titan String Bow works really well in the high dex. So the combination of these things make this work. Also, Karlach is, of course, she's a Wildheart barbarian with the elk as her subclass, and the elk makes it so that dealing with small spiderlings combined with Call of the Week is going to be very strong. So we just need to be out of range of the Spider Matriarch if we want to try those kinds of shenanigans. So probably a good place to start is to, dropping her already, attacking her while she's on the web, getting her to fall down already at the beginning of the fight is of course good action economy, and also it's going to give me time to take care of the Phase Spider. So probably that's what I am going to attempt for Karlach. I could engage normally in other ways, but it definitely does work. Let's see if we can't shoot down the web here. So there's a problem because now she's going to regain her hit points. What the heck? She's going to engage. And then Okay, so that happens. Okay, optimal situation, very weird sequence. So apparently shooting the web while not in combat with the Phase Spider Matriarch is going to make her go and locate the culprit. So I think that what was happening here was that the Spider Matriarch, uh, she saw Scratch, who was not hiding apparently, but so destroying the spider web made the Spider Matriarch look for the person because she apparently went into that. I'm going to put you to prison now because you broke the rules mode that I think every NPC is programmed with. Uh, and uh, and then she went and looked for me and she couldn't find me, but then she looked a little bit around and she spotted Scratch and then we had combat. And so after that, she regained her phasing, her phase ethereal jaunt ability that she then cast, and then she proceeded to go and alert the spiderlings. But for whatever reason, she didn't regain her hit points. That was very, very odd. No, what happened here was that I shot down the spider matriarch. She was on the web over here, which is now gone, obviously, and she fell down and she took 40 damage hit points of damage. And following that, she was like, okay, so who's destroying my webs? And then she went and she found out who the culprit was, and then she immediately proceeded to engage with the initiative. And then because she was the first to go, she went and jaunted down to the spiderlings that she then killed, which are down here. And I'm assuming that the 30 yards or the 30 meters that she has for the range, I think it is 30 meters. Maybe it's 30 yards. 30 yards, I think, is 18 meters something. I think that makes a bit of a difference. I'm pretty certain that the Gossamer Tomb is 18 meters. 30 meters. Okay, so 30 meters. Yeah, 30 meters. Okay, fair enough. So 30 meters, that's basically the entire arena. That means she can cast the Gossamer Tomb from any range. So you don't want to mess around with her spiderlings unless you can throw something that flies at an angle and thus makes it so that there's no direct line of sight. That's pretty annoying because then I can't do anything this turn. I could attack her though. I could attack her if her offspring is attacked. And I don't think I have any AoE damage here. I'm going to trigger my L card. And then probably is this just a good time to trigger the melody? I guess it is. The reason why I'm using the Valor Loop, even with the Great Weapon Master in this encounter, I mean, many things could work, but it is because I want to kind of I want to try to, as much as possible, the Primal Stampede is really helping me out. It works very well with the Valor Loop, and yeah, but maybe it's going to be slightly dangerous in this particular encounter actually. So let's just try to attack her here. And we head back here. Oh, Scratch was hit for 9 poison damage. What I'm saying, like one of the points that I want to make here is that this encounter is not a dangerous encounter per se, but the damage potential of what you're finding is very, very high. So the damage rolls from the spiders, for instance, is a 2d6 added with dexterity modifier added, and that is not even a critical strike. So the damage can go fairly high, suddenly making this a very, very dangerous encounter. So can I trigger her Gossamer Tomb with the dog? Is what I'm wondering. She should be able to see the dog here. Let's try and see. She does not use her Gossamer Tomb on the dog. Yes, and here she comes with the jaunt. And she does 10 poison damage, and I receive the poison damage condition. So at this point, probably I want to shoot the spider web to make the spider matriarch fall down, although she is going to enrage. But it is going to be, I think, necessary in order to do anything else with my action at this point. Actually, not quite sure if that is the best course of action. Problem is, attacking the spiders, I'm assuming, is going to cause her to do the Gossamer Tomb. The Gossamer Tomb is potentially a death sentence for you if you're hit by this. I'm assuming that any of my offensive abilities or abilities that kind of move in this direction is going to cause her to go into that mode. And if I need to shoot, I might as well shoot the web, also because I can make the Phase Spider here fall down. So I'm going to shoot here. And with the poison, the mischance is also a bit of a problem. So I'm shooting here, and we'll see if it... Yeah, she's definitely going to enrage, and the other spider is prone as well. So now she's prone, so I can attack over here with my bonus action, which I am going to do. All right, let's see what happens. And here we go. And so, and Spider Wrath is up, which means that the second that I get the chance that I get her within some kind of melee or attack range, I need to focus her with everything that I've got. So the 30 yards is still going to hit me here, unless, and that's a big if, I'm able to do some kind of charge where I can I need to do this to try and see if the line of sight is going to help me out here. So I'm going to try to charge here. And no Gossamer Tomb. So I'm still in the working theory that she does need her line of sight. And then there's something about the range. And she ends her turn on the web. Yeah, I think that once the Spider Queen goes into the Spider Queen Wrath, I don't think she's going to end her turn on any webs following that. And the spiders are out. And now we just need to wait for the queen. Is the game sound not playing? Really? Any game sound now? And no game sound. How about now? Okay. Following this, I'm going to quickly restart the game, I think. And she is on the web. So we're going to attack the web again. She's not quite dead though, but probably she needs an arrow here. Oh, she is, of course, she's piercing. Yes, she's resistant to everything at this point. Okay. There we go. There we go. She was within the range of casting the Gossamer Tomb, and she cast it. It doesn't state any kind of check, any kind of resisted. It's probably just blocked by terrain. It's probably a ranged attack that needs it needs to be able to not only needs to not only be able to be like within the range, but she also needs to see you to be able to hit you with it. But the attack did she actually did use the attack? There was just no save. Probably I do need to go online to check for the wiki, because this is very odd. Like there's no, like, obviously this worked, and like the Spider Matriarch used her ability, but and even in my turn, the Holy Land Helm does not count as an actual action or attack against her offspring. Okay. And there we go. All right, so this was not that bad. I need to reboot the game real quick to see if I can get the sound up and running. Yeah, I never do that. Not until today, but I'm assuming that that's an issue because I the sonar input did actually. Maybe I muted the sonar input actually. That's probably the problem. One moment. I don't know if this is going to make any. Is the sound coming in double now? I think I don't want this. That's odd. I need to figure this out so that I can. No sound coming through? No sound coming through? Okay. Right. So next up is my ranger here, and still with the items from the crash. So I mean, part of the discussion here can also be like, when is this encounter going to be too easy, and what are the deciding factors that help contribute to this situation? So and of course we're still talking like generally um, generally adequate levels to the challenges that we're facing uh, with the environment and everything else. Trying to kind of work with what we have with the characters that we're playing. And the gear setup for this ranger on level 6 is a Beastmaster ranger. And so it has a pet which gets a buff at level 5. And so I've chosen the ball because the ball has a charge ability that is useful against a lot of the things going on in this encounter. So that, but it could practically be anything. Even the raven that blinds, I think, could be effective against the spider matriarch. So the ranger generally is a very strong character for solo. not surprisingly, but it is. And the setup that I'm running with this is the Club of Hellgiant Strength, which makes the Titan String bow very, very strong. And then I'm doubling down on all of the damage, so I'm assuming that I can basically just kill the Spider Matriarch and just ignore the ads. That's my working theory. I think that's going to work very well. Misty Step Amulet, because you can then reposition and shoot more. Caustic Band for damage, Ring of Protection, Titan String Bow, Absolute Warboard, Hellgiant Strength, Boots of Speed, which could be really anything. I mean, probably the Disintegrating Nightwalkers are better, also for the Ranger. The Adamantine Scale Mail, which is of course the medium armor from the Forge, and the Holy Lance Helm. I don't know if there's anything else really to say. The strategy is going to be approximately the same as the two earlier characters. Going to try to see if we can utilize the spider web to get the Spider Queen to fall down, take some damage. Let's see if we can't provoke the same kind of behavior as we did just before.
Should mind my step.
Did I just miss the... Oh, I accidentally attacked the Spider Matriarch. That's fine. Holy hills. All right. That's fine. So a little bit of a mistake here in the first round, and all of the NPCs are just not really interacting because they can't see me, which means I might have to sacrifice Scratch. What in the world? There we go. And now we're in combat. Poison does an AoE splash. That is good to know. 2d6 plus 3. Pretty unpleasant. Alright. Goodbye, Spider 1. Let's get that sharpshooter going. Probably no rage just yet. Oh. And And every time you take that damage, it's good to remember in this encounter in particular that this damage would basically have been doubled if it hadn't been for the resistances. So, like, without the resistances, I think this is not a very pleasant encounter. Okay, I'm going to be shooting her and then the web, or just the web. Just the web. Sure. She falls down, and she takes 60 bludgeoning damage. And then we're going to see if we can't tie her down here. Get right angle on her, maybe. Not possible. Okay. So just to test. No, the Gossamer Tomb does not happen when she's prone. And then the ball is going to rage and charge. And again, the helmet here is just, it kind of in a way trivializes the encounter. But with the following characters that are not able to wear mail armor, it's going to be, I think, more apparent if it has any merit to it that changes the whole thing. The Ranger, even the Dwargar Ranger, has several other abilities that grossly boosts the damage for 10 turns, which is something that you can use like prior to the fight, making it even more ridiculous. But right now, I think I don't need to prove that point. So let us just shoot her in the face. Can't make this work. Critical hit. And she's ensnared. But what does that mean, though? She can probably still attack me. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's a lot of damage from the boar charge right there. How is that so much damage? Oh, it's 1d4 dice of damage from the rage. Something's off. Something is off with these numbers. All of these instances are based off of the ball charge, which is a singular attack on each of the spiderlings. So every damage instance or every kind of attack roll / damage instance is calculated before the damage is then calculated and killing the spiderlings. So it seems like both the ball charge is hitting twice on all of... No, wait. Killed while down. I'll need to look into that. It looks a little bit buggy. Actually, it looks quite a bit buggy. Oh, damn it. That was a poor decision. I should have known that was going to happen. Okay. So I'm assuming because I get the ensnared there for the advantage, then we can shoot with a sharpshooter. We can probably move behind here. And she can't even move. If this is not animal cruelty, I don't know what is. Yeah, something is wrong with the ball. Something's wrong with the ball. Either that or there's some kind of interaction with the spiderlings. Because it's at least twice the damage from what the tooltip is showing. Something is definitely... you know, as if all the other things about the ranger were not enough, you can also ensnaring strike the boss and then move backwards and forwards. Okay, that's it for the ranger. Moving on to Princechristopher. And then the tooltip said that the rage from the boar made the boar deal an additional 1d4 of damage, and that's not stated anywhere on... It's not stated anywhere on the tooltip, but it was stated in the combat log that the boar dealt 1d4 of extra. I think it was slashing damage, if I'm not mistaken, either that or piercing. But it was definitely dealing way too much damage, for sure. Like at least twice the damage it was supposed to. All right, moving into the Valor. The Valor is maybe, I think, one of the more questionable characters that I got going here. It's a level 6 Valor, so it does have its extra attack feature from the subclass, which means that it should, in principle, be possible to make it work with the Titan Strength bow and the Club of Hildgiant Strength alone. The Bard, being a full caster, has access to a bunch of different spells that I may or may not use. The Long Strider buff, which is force free ritual spell, needs to be buffed on me and my companion here. That's a friendly little shadow. And then outside of that, the spells available to me, I think, are not going to make that much of a difference for various reasons. The spell selection doesn't really lend itself to the Spider Matriarch in a very meaningful way. I can't really use the AoE abilities to deal with the spiderlings, because that's already dangerous, because she could use her Gossamer Tome and make me very, very, very vulnerable. So the spell selection is probably not that interesting. Obviously, the Thunder Wave has a lot of potential in terms of knocking away the creatures and knocking them off a cliff somewhere. So that is something. But regardless, it is still very strong. The minor illusion, I think Oh, it has a short range. Is that it? 18 meters. But the minor illusion can cause a little bit of mischief. I think it is possible to. Let me just quickly see here. Doesn't cause it doesn't cause the hiding to disappear, so that's fine. It's part of the tooltip here for the minor illusion. So I mean, I can make the Spider Matriarch go somewhere and then do shenanigans if that's what I want to do. But probably Princechristopher here is going to be pretty straightforward. I think probably I'm going to roll with some of the items that give him small advantages. He could use the caustic band for more damage. I think I want the ring of protection though, and he's also using the Holy Lance helm. So even if the Valor is on average weaker than, for instance, the fighter or the barbarian, I think with the available items here, he's going to prove adequate. That's my hope. If he dies, he dies. But that's just what that is. Probably they are all of them immune to poison damage, so any kind of poison sources are not going to be helping in any way. Tadpole wise, he's decked out like the rest of the party. And he does have the ability drain, so probably Boots of Stormy Clamor could be helpful. Strongly considering the Whispering Promise instead of the Ring of Protection for the saving throws and the attack roll bonus from the Bless. If you can cause reverberation, you can cause havoc. Any consideration here? I mean, the Valor Bard is in many ways a much weaker class. It does have healing word that is a kind of a saving grace for it. It does have the Blade Ward that I can then spend a full turn enabling. But I do need to focus on getting the damage through, which is, I think, the major issue here. It's probably we're just going to cast the Bless before we go, and then that's it. Jump spell and the Bless.
Good idea, I think. Another step forward.
And then we proceed to initiate here. And this is coming. And so it is a bit of a sneak attack, getting her to fall down this way. But I think it's fair enough. This encounter can get really hairy. So in principle, attacking her here is going to cause the Gossamer. Attacking this guy is going to cause the Gossamer too. So this kind of situation where we cannot really use the secondary attack here. So we're going to inspire Scratch to do better. And so the way to optimize the Valor Bard's specific specific combat inspiration is by enabling the reactions. It seems like if you do not enable the reactions in this menu, in the scratch menu in this case, he's not necessarily going to be using the combat inspiration that you give him. And at this point, I'm very interested in him actually using it. Alright, we're going to head back here. We're going to wait. Oh, the combat inspiration was already used. Okay. Okay. I'm a little bit fascinated by the fact that the minor illusion actually works inside of the combat. All right. So I think at this point it's pretty important what I choose to do. I need to, first of all, I need to shoot down the Spider Matriarch because I can't attack the other spiders before I do so. So it is going to be pretty important that I take that action. Okay. She is going to enrage next turn, so it is going to be very hairy. I think I might attempt the same thing as last here. Critical miss. So spending a full turn dealing with that meaning I have time to deal with these spiders over here, and I could go for a psionic overload, which I think is going to be too expensive since it consumes my action. I could go and try and attempt some spells, or I could just attack using the main attack action. Which I think, all things considered, is the way to go here. And the Gossamer Tomb is thrown. Gossamer Tomb is used, but it does not connect. It does not connect. Does not connect at all. I'm going to trust in... Okay, that was not fortunate. Alright, so I'm going to be going over here to see if I can't bait her to jump onto the web. I mean, the attack rolls. Alright, and she goes onto the web, which we are very happy about. So I'm going to shoot the web here. And then I'm going to just give her a good old regular critical hit for 8 points of damage. This is when I start using my spell slots, by the way. And the poison is up again, even with the blessing. So at this point, attacking her spiderlings is going to be bad, but what I can do is trigger the attack of opportunity. Then probably see if we can send her flying with a little bit of fire. And amazingly enough, it did not trigger the Call of the Week, so the that was it for the Bard. And so, I mean, I was a little bit worried because the Bard has less hit points, has less martial acumen than some of the other martial classes. But the access to the medium armor, the access to the Holy Lance Helm, and the combination of the Titan String Bow and the Club of Hildjan Strength is just too strong to ignore the basic power of that combination. Good night, Meriden. So Meriden is basically going to bed at the same time as we did last night. That's funny. 2 o'clock. All right, now I'm going to go in and do this with the 3 casters that I have left: the Warlock, the Sorcerer, and the Druid. The Druid has the same kind of basic setup with the Holy Lance Helm. The Druid does not have currently the armor from Grim, the critical strike immunity. So in a way, that's a pretty good way to talk a little bit about what that does for the characters in general. The damage reduction is just very, very strong. The magical plate damage reduction from those adamantine armors makes a world of difference in the short and in the long run for these characters when they do these challenges. So this Druid is slightly less geared, you could say. Still have access to the Holy Lance Helm, which is going to deal, I think, effectively with the Spiderlings. She's a Circle of the Land Druid, so she's not adept in animal transformation, and she doesn't have the spore buffs, so she's more like of the pure caster variety, you could say. So a lot of her spells are focused around dealing loads of damage, AoE damage, but that's going to be very dangerous in this fight. So probably that's not the strategy that I'm using. She is using currently the both the Banshee, which she's not proficient with, and wielding the Club of Hildjan Strength. So that's already, I think, a pretty weak combination of abilities. So she is currently in a situation where she's not going to be able to deal a lot of direct damage currently, and she is with the lightning spells and whatnot, but she is going to be in a weak position until she is going to be able to set up all of the damage. What the Druid does have as a very strong I would almost say, auxiliary strength in this game is the fact that they can gain an enormous amount of temporary hit points at will by spending an action or a bonus action, depending on the subclass, to transform into some kind of beast, because that is effectively loads of bonus hit points that's going to buy them a whole turn, at least, to figure out what to do with the whole situation. Also, I mean, the shapeshift shifts will still deal damage. So that's, it's a very, very strong bonus power that the Druid has. And the owlbear here, the owlbear shape is nothing to sneeze at. 65 hit points. All right. So that's the situation for the Druid. I'm not going to implement some kind of special strategies. It is the poison ring resistance. It's the ring of protection. It is the amulet of restoration for extra bonus actions that's going to help me heal. It is a random bow at this point, which is of course not a very good idea. You need the hunting short bow if you don't have any other specific means of harming the creature, because the hunting short bow is going to give you advantage against monstrosity types, which the Spider Matriarch is a monstrosity, and probably the Falar Aluve, out of lack of better weapons in this case, makes sense. At least we can do a little bit of potential shenanigans with the shriek, which I think I'm going to apply here. And let us see. Staff of Arcane Blessing. It's also going to go here. I think that's pretty much it. In terms of boots, yes, this is Disintegrating Nightwalkers for sure. I think that's going to be the stronger action here. Probably not even the Amulet of Restoration is going to make sense. I think she needs the added Misty Step, the extra Misty Step, to reposition and to well, does that make sense? She doesn't mind the attacks of opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to buff the... See, we both have the Long Strider, so I'm going to buff the Jump, which is a ritual spell for the Druid here. They're too far away to be part of the turn-based mode. So we're just gonna let the Phase Spider Matriarch walk back here. Then we're going to proceed as normal.
No one stopped me yet.
Oh, now she doesn't want to move. Now she's frozen in her animation. Okay. There we go. And probably in order to make sure that the spider web is destroyed, I need an ice knife. On the spider web.
You picked the wrong fight, friend.
And still, it does not go down. It's very low rolls on the damage for the ice knife. Let's see. Scratch is being targeted as always. Come on, Mr. Scratch. Are you able to attack the web here? Sure. That was a good strong bite. That web. Let's just see if we can't make you stunned. Oh, and then her turn is currently not available. Okie dokie. Moving into this position here. She is still placed on the web, so I am going to try to get her wet and lightning, destroy her with lightning. But currently I think that is probably a little bit dangerous. And also making sure to use the mirror images beforehand is also a good thing. In this encounter in particular, it's not going to be that big of a deal because they will just remove those images in the first round. But we are going to shoot down the Spider Queen here. She falls and she takes 6 damage. That seems consistent. And now basically any kind of action at this point is not going to do anything. So I'm just going to end the turn. And this character is critical, so she can be critically hit, which I'm still guessing is matters a whole lot, unless you are have a very strong damage strategy for the Spider Queen. Alright, so I think I am going to fry these guys with the lightning spell. See if we can make that work. Not quite enough damage. Healing. And then we're going to try to bait the Spider Queen again. And so the saving grace of not having the critical strike immunity from the armor with the Druid here is the fact that I have the luminous armor, which of course enables the radiant orb explosions that are a very strong overall strategy for anything in this game. Right. Okay, we still have our concentration, so we're going to hold on a little bit to that. I'm going to use my bonus action here for this. Then I need to deal with these guys, which is going to be a bit of a pain because
Don't waste a step.
any of the probably the mirror image is the right action here once we kind of find out what the Spider Queen is going to be up to. This should basically purchase me around. And it doesn't. So now the Spider Queen is in action. She is not enraged, which is a major advantage currently. And I think this is probably the turn to get her wet. That means I do have 2 more turns of casting some kind of lightning-based spell at her. So potentially it would be better for her to be on slightly lower hit points, making it more of a DPS race at this point. but it is also a little bit dubious if it's going to be possible for me to do it at a later point in time. This seems like the least dangerous time. So I'm going to cast water on her, and then I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to move slightly forward here, like so. Poison just goes through, just goes through. Even making the web here disappear is going to be difficult. But now we need to execute the strategy here, which is probably the lightning bolt, because the cold lightning is a concentration spell which is going to remove the bless, which I'm not quite ready to do yet, so I'm casting a lightning bolt on her now. So she saves. So it means she takes half damage. 8d6. So that's potentially 48 damage. That could have gone all the way up to 96, but it doesn't. Okay, we're healing. And now the spider kills Rack. So from experience, this is already a little bit dodgy. And the reason I'm saying it's dodgy is because she's in the Spider Queen's Wrath mode right now. And she has a lot of hit points. She's not going onto the web. She's in my face. We still have two of the Phase Spiders dealing considerable damage to us. So at this point, it's not completely given what the outcome is going to be. I can't commit to attacking any of these outside of moving. I think I need to try and see if I can produce some more Radiant Orbs on the boss here. It's probably my best shot. Does this little guy get his chance? Okay. And then probably using my Cold Lightning spell and just hoping for the best. I think it's the way to go here. And for whatever reason, that made the spider web disappear. So the Cold Lightning spell was placed over here, but the effect also triggered over here. Also a little bit interesting. Let's see if the Cold Lightning holds. Otherwise, I think our young lady is probably going to suffer a very gruesome death. Very, very interesting. And that was a critical hit. And all of the poison just hits there. What was the... Cold Lightning is still up. She's not wet though. But... Radiant Orbs still mean there's a lot of Radiant Orbs. We have the Spider Queen Matriarch. We have the two Phase Spiders currently alive, doing their thing. So at this point, the question is really, do we add Because I think 2 Call Lightning spells, even with the Call of the Week, is not going to be enough to send her off alone. Probably at this point, this is the time to invoke the special power of the Druid. Although, with these actions turning into a wild shape, it's still going to take a lot of damage. I'm going to attempt the Wild Bear. That means that the Call of Lightning is then going to potentially be ruined. And then we rage. And she's fearful. Let's see what happens here. Concentration. Oh, concentration is now broken. For the Call Lightning. The enrage seemed to disappear. Nobody knows how the rage ended, but it has been re-established. The owlbear form is available at level 6, so without the owlbear form, it's not exactly the same thing, I think. Oh, the temporary hit points. That is combined. Yeah, the temporary hit points decides when the rage ends. Yes. Okay. So this was a situation that was I planned on the druid to use her innate abilities as a spellcaster, and then the second that she was in trouble, and let's face it, she was in trouble with no spell slots and my general strategy failing, adding the shapeshift ability, and I've got 2 wild shape charges at level 6. So that means that I'm able to do that stuff there twice. So and this is a character who's not specialized in the shapeshifting, but even so, the shapeshifting is an extremely strong ability in Baldur's Gate 3. It just is. It is. Shapeshifting is insane. You have 3 health bars. You have more than 3 health bars. All right. Now for the 2 most questionable runs is the Warlock and the Frost Sorcerer. I'm going to wager that at least one of these characters are going to die. At least one of them are going to die. Okie dokie. All right. So the Warlock. Several things needs to be said here. The Warlock is, first of all, is a level 6 Warlock. That doesn't do a lot, but it's a level 6 Warlock nonetheless. So a bit of extra. Yeah. So the Warlock here is a pretty baseline Warlock, level 6 Warlock. It's a Fiend Warlock stemming from the Wyll background. So basically most of this is the origin, the baseline origin character, apart from a little bit of stat jumping in the character creation process. He has, let's just quickly see. He has, in terms of Eldritch Invocation, the Repelling Blast. He has the, let us see. We have it, the Agonizing Blast for the damage. And that seems to be it in terms of the Eldritch Invocation. So the choice, and then he is a Pact of the Tome Warlock. So Pact of the Tome for the level 3 subclass, and the Eldritch Invocations are the Agonizing Blast and the Repelling Blast. That is what he has from his class. And then the level 4 feat is the charisma increase here. So that's what Wyll has outside of his gear and whatnot. He is buffed with Armor of Agathis, Mage Armor, and rocks a total armor class of 21. Right. So the gear setup currently for this guy, who does not have any medium armor proficiency, is the Haste Helm, which seems to be the best option at this point. I cannot equip the Shadow of Mentor Baranton. Well, I can, but what's going to happen is that my Mage Armor is going to disappear. And I'm not particularly interested in fighting anybody with less than 21 AC if I can help it. He has the Infernal Robe, the quest item reward for killing Karlach, which gives you an additional armor class, which is helpful. And also the fire shield that I'm going to, flame shield, or fire shield, sorry, that I'm going to pop, that I'm going to set off before I fight, because that should help me to some degree with the spiderlings. And also it's a level 4 spell, so it deals a buttload of damage, basically, if it starts hitting anything. But you need to be hit in order for that to really work. But that can work together with the Blade Ward. So you can do a little bit of shenanigans with the Blade Ward and then maybe the Fire Shield. But a lot of the stuff is contradictory with high AC. So let's see what happens there. The Gloves of Dexterity from the Kresh to add Wyll's armor class up until like a +4 dex modifier to armor class, and a +1 to attack, which also applies to the Eldritch Blasting, which is how I'm going to kill things, along with the Hunting Shortbow. Disintegrating Nightwalkers, which could be, I mean, that could be basically, that could be anything. I think the Disintegrating Nightwalkers are just an okay thing to use here. And then the choice between the Knife of the Undermountain King, which adds, in this particular case, it only adds to the critical strike rolls, meaning that I can critical strike on a 19. So that's that critical strike immunity from the Adamantine Shield, which is I think pretty necessary. The Hunting Shortbow to give advantage against the Spider Queen, Spider Matriarch. So the advantage on the attack rolls is going to be pretty paramount, because that's going to mean I can actually hit her. Ring of Protection, and of course the Ring of Poison Resistance. I don't think this is possible to do without the Ring of Poison Resistance in solo. I mean, on high levels maybe it is, but the amount of damage that you can take is bonkers. You can take so much damage in this encounter. The Amulet of Restoration for a little bit of healing, I think is pretty good. Also seeing that Wyll's bonus actions are not that important. I will not be using haste, I think, in this encounter. I think it's going to be way too dangerous. Normally, I'd like to use haste at every given opportunity, but in this particular encounter, I think it's an immediate death sentence, because there are so many attacks and so many checks to keep concentration, and even with I mean, even +4 is just, it's not going to cut it. It's going to be very, very dangerous to do anything in terms of keeping concentration here. I mean, I can do Call Lightning, that's fine, but outside of that, that's it's very dangerous. So probably I'm going to be utilizing the Armor of Agathis for my spell slots, because that just gives me the survivability that I need, and it returns the damage to her. So this is probably going to be my strategy, I'm pretty sure. I just need to check. Yeah, the spider web is going to be easy to destroy with the 2 Eldritch Blast rays. So that is the saving grace. The other thing, though, is that I've brought my friend, and I think that when you want to look at what subclass for the warlock is best, and a little bit of an overlooked fact is what you actually gain from the Pact of the Tome Warlock. And not having the Pact weapon obviously makes a difference, because the Pact weapon from the Pact of the Blade Warlock offers a lot of versatility in many regards, but in many ways the Pact of the Tome offers a lot of versatility on its own. Among other things, the Resurrect Undead, or the, let me just find the spell name. The Animate Dead, obviously, yeah. The level 3 spell that you can use once per long rest, where you can choose either a skeleton or the zombie. And one thing that I've discovered while playing this game is that apparently zombies can be animated from most living creatures. So what I'm hoping for, this is not something that I know for a fact, but what I'm hoping for is that the second that the small spiderlings get up here, Mr. Zombie is going to get at least 1 turn, hopefully. Because I think he's in a very bad position. My assumption is that Mr. Zombie here is going to be assaulted like, like nothing you've ever seen before by the spiderlings, and also by the phase spiders. So I think he's going to have a very bad time. But he does have the advantage of having the volatile shield. Hopefully that's going to stun the small spiderlings, giving him the 1 turn he needs. If he can get 1 kill off on the spiderlings, what that's going to mean is that it's potentially going to start a chain reaction of spawning zombies, and then this encounter is going to be very easy. So probably, actually, like, one thing you could think about is maybe repositioning this guy, making him not stand so close. I think that's going to happen, because I am pretty worried that he is going to be a very, he's going to be a target for sure. I don't know if this is far enough, but let's just figure this out. Let's find out. Okay, so I'm going to precast the 2 spells here, and then I'm going to hit the short rest button, giving me my spell slots back. And then we're going to hit the spider web here. Rolling a bad initiative. Let's see what happens. Mr. Zombie is not yet in combat, which is something I'm really hoping for he's not going to get before the spiderlings show up, because I have very high hopes that this is going to work. Still, he's not in combat, and I was just bringing in the friends. So one thing that the Warlock does excel at is direct damage. He can, I mean, I could, with the right angle, you could shoot the Spider Matriarch off the cliff and into one of the chasms, which I don't need to, and I'm not going to do. I could attack her now to deal damage to her, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to piggyback off of the shielding here from the Gossamer Tomb, and then I am going to attack this spider here. And she's not even casting the Gossamer Tomb at this point. And then I'm going to end the turn right here. attack the spider web because might as well try to optimize a little bit here. Potentially stacking your characters is not very beneficial because the poison, I think, is going to hit both targets. It is. So that was a bad choice. 31 damage. So that's a critical right there. That is the critical damage. So I think my point is that even though that this seems like a breeze and it's very easy with the level 6 and all of the overpowered gear, the damage potential of these creatures is so high. So potential of 48 poison damage plus 5, that equals 53 poison damage in one attack. So that is, in my opinion, okay, people are coming. Okay, so that's, for me, that is a very, very unpleasant sort of fact of life. Let's just see. Is it going to be too dangerous trying to beam the spider web and the face spider? Probably it is. I think I need to double beam the spider web to be sure. Let's go. And she takes 60 damage, 60 consistent damage points there. Hello, Blackest. Now is a much better time because now I'm just doing my own thing here. And currently, to anybody who is awake and watching or was watching Blackest, what I'm currently doing is I'm running my simulation series, which might or might not be interesting to people, but what I'm doing is I'm attending some of the more iconic encounters in the first act to begin with. Obviously, I want to end up with having like a whole session of doing Merkel with as many characters as possible in succession with my standard rule set of no consumables. So what I'm doing now is I'm fighting the Spider Matriarch and talking about, you know, the ins and outs of that encounter. Obviously, you could do this on a custom game save file. You could do this with a situation where you really get into it with a very low-level character and try to exploit as many of the intrinsic game mechanics as possible. What I'm doing is not quite that, but I am, you know, piggybacking off of everything I know and everything that is given to me. So for instance, the Spider Matriarch likes to jump on the web. I'm going to shoot the webs every time. Alright. And now it's time to bring in Mr. Zombie. Okay, I'm just crossing everything that I have that it's Mr. Zombie is going to reach. The average damage should be enough. Come on, Mr. Zombie. Damn it, Mr. Zombie. You're just not performing. You're not performing, man. Okay, so I'm going to blow off the spider here. Goodbye. And the Gossamer Tomb. And the Gossamer Tombs. Now I saw it. The Gossamer Tomb, it left the Phase Spider Matriarch. It's a projectile. And it left her, and then it just hit the wall there. I saw that, and then it doesn't connect. So she will attempt to use her tomb on you, but she will do so within a certain range, but she will need the line of sight. Everybody knows this, but this is, for me, nice to just see the visuals of the projectile actually leaving her there. Alright, so I think I want to use this.
Fleet of foot.
Triggering those attacks of opportunity can be beneficial, I think, if you have some kind of damage. Gotcha, Blackest. Take care of yourself, man. Us old gaming guys need to stick together. We're not getting any younger, at least. And my zombie just needs, he just needs the one turn to stay alive here. So in principle, the Spider Matriarch is not, she's not going to come for me. I can't really do anything to her this turn. So I don't want to kill off all of these, but I do want to kill off some of them. The Call of the Weak is going to make it so that if I deal damage to any of them with, for example, Repulsor, they're all going to die, which is not in my interest. I even think potentially the Spiderweb is also going to take damage, so there are many reasons why we don't want that to happen. I'm going to proc my Blade Ward here. And then I'm going to, you know, whoever dies here is going to die, and that's fine, because I don't want all of these spiders alive. And the reason for that is that I don't want all of them to be able to attack Mr. Zombie in a moment. I want this spider up. No, wait. I'm just going to see. If they die, they die. It's fine. Okay, this is a good amount. So, Blade Ward up. Okay. Okay. Okay, Mr. Zombie. Now it's time to show what is going on here. Mr. Zombie, you are goddamn worthless. That's what you are. Such a disappointment. Oh no. Okay. Okay, no problem. The perks of entering the battle. Okay, let's see here. So I have 3 spiderlings, and those are crucial to my strategy. I don't want them to die straight away. I want Mr. Zombie to see if he can't. And then at the same time, the armor of Agathis is perhaps, I think at this point, it's better to just shoot Mama. And then we're going to shoot ourselves. And then simple toxin. No thanks. Okay, so entering the poison, a simple toxin causes the poison. I should have known. Okay, Mr. Zombie. All right. So there's a very high chance of hitting. There's a very high chance of the average damage. The average damage is above 7, so let's see. Look at that. Okay, so 2 interesting things happened. So first off, a fully grown zombie can of course rise directly out of a phase spiderling. This is obvious to anybody. So the zombies can summon other zombies out of the spiderling corpses. That's for starters a pretty nice thing. And then, so that was the action. And then the other thing that happened, which I hadn't quite seen coming, was the fact that the newborn zombie apparently was seen as performing an offensive action against one of the Spider Matriarch's children, which in a sense is very true, but like mechanically it doesn't make any sense in any way. But now the newborn zombie is infested and within the Gossamer tomb, and I don't think I can do anything about that. And they were just going ham on the Gossamer tomb there. Alright, so the Spider Matriarch is getting relatively aggressive, which I don't like too much, and at the same time This is probably an Armor of Agath this round. And then I'm going to see if I can't... When I go to her, I can Misty Step with the boots. Misty Step action from the boots and Misty Step to her. Because I don't mind her attacking me, but I want it to hurt. Okay, zombie is now up. So let's see if we can't make what happened last turn happen again. So, okay, so if I'm attacking this guy, like this guy, then if she attacks, if she is meant to Gossamer Tomb the zombie here, then that's going to go in that direction. But if she's Gossamer Tombing the other one, it shouldn't hit both of the targets. Let's try to attack this guy. And she does Gossamer Tomb the other one. So yeah, okay, so that makes a lot of sense. So basically what happens is that... Yeah, look at the magic. Look at the magic. Wow. Look at the magic. Yeah, so the Gossamer Tomb basically hits whatever's first, whatever comes first in the line of fire. So that's good to know as a minor detail. Currently I have my fire shield and my armor of Agathis up, so I'm going to move out of range of the Spider Matriarch to see if I can't prompt an attack here. They're just banging the Gossamer Tomb. Does the Gossamer Tomb offer any kind of damage reduction? Doesn't have any. Yeah, but the spiders, the zombies are already multiplying from the easy targets there. So that whole thing is basically making it relatively painless. And the Spider Queen is dead. Okay. There we go. Anyways, the gimmick with the zombies seems like an irrelevant part of this, but I can assure you it's not. Having an army of zombies, they deal a lot of bludgeoning damage, and they're just, you know, wrecking everything. It's absolutely fantastic. Okay, jumping into the final battle here. I think I have time to just go straight into the Grimforge encounter actually and start doing those after this. The animate dead zombies are potentially one of the most valuable level 3 spells, I would say. And that wouldn't be completely inaccurate. Okay, so now it is time for Elsa. Elsa is in the same boat as Wyll, meaning that she's a sorceress. But she doesn't have access to the medium armor. So she does have the adamantine shield as a critical strike immunity protection. But outside of that, she doesn't have anything really, like in terms of direct damage, like other things. So she's going to rely, I think, on a lot of random shenanigans. But we'll see once we get around to it. She's a Draconic sorcerer level 6, meaning that she has access to the first subclass feature, which is, I think, maybe the most important bit about the sorcerer monoclass, at least, is that she gets to add her charisma modifier to the damage of her spells. All of them. All of the AoE spells, all of the single target spells, all of the cantrips, all of it, but only when it's associated with the Draconic ancestry, which in Elsa's case is the white ancestry, meaning that she has access to cold spell increase and, what's more important, the Armor of Agathis spell, which is a big carry in terms of survivability for her. She does have all of her spell slots. I think she can, before we engage. No, she cannot. No, fortunately not. Okay, quickly going over the items of Elsa. Elsa is using the haste helm like Wyll because there is no better alternative from what I've found at this point in the game, at least. The protective sparks wall, which doesn't do a lot in this stage of the game, but it does a little bit. The gloves of dexterity from the crash, making her armor class to be slightly more reasonable. And at this point, the boots of speed. Elsa is going to die here for sure. She has the necklace of elemental augmentation that also adds extra spell casting modifier to her cantrips, making the Ray of Frost deal +3 times 2 from the 3 from the ancestry and +3 from the necklace, giving it a +6. So if it hits, it is automatically 8 to 22 damage, which is not a lot. The overall strategy of Elsa is to see if I can't make the Spider Queen vulnerable to the frost spells, and see if I can't actually damage her with a Ray of Frost. She does have, for her level 4 feat, she does have the Warcaster feat, which, because I don't rely on the elixir that does the same thing, but I do enjoy the haste spell. If I can make the haste spell actually stay on her, that is a saving grace for sure for this particular, otherwise very, very weak character at this point. The hunting shortbow is, of course, to give me advantage against the Spider Matriarch, the advantage with the green arrow up there. And then she has the Ring of Poison Resistance and the Ring of Protection to help out with staying alive. Her saving throw with Constitution is +7, so advantage for that means that I need to roll 2 dice below 3 to fail. The saving throw for maintaining concentration with spells, as far as I can tell, at least in Baldur's Gate 3, is a 10, difficulty class 10, meaning I need to roll a 3 in one of the dice to ensure that I maintain concentration. So as long as I can keep concentration on the haste spell, that's 10 turns of haste. Haste also gives a couple of other benefits. It gives +2 to armor class, which is very good. And like so many things. So she does need to get hit, but the concentration is going to be very strong. So she is probably going to do this with the haste spell on, and then we'll just hope, I'll cross my fingers, that she's going to be able to deal enough damage. Her meta magic feats enable her to do various things that are of some interest. The quicken spell enables you to cast a bonus action to action, but it's a very, very expensive meta magic feat because I only have 6 points to deal with. I do have the extended feat, which I will need because I'm going to try to see if I can't wet her for twice the amount of turns. So this means that if I'm able to cast Create Water on the Spider Matriarch, that's going to give her vulnerability to water for 6 turns. And the 6 turns with a haste spell is what I hope is going to be enough to deal with the Spider Queen. So let's see if hopefully I don't forget this. And then I've got Shovel here. Shovel is just kind of part of the game. He's going to be there and he's going to do shenanigans.
Does this count as adventuring?
So, from my learning from what happened to the cleric, casting the ice knife on the spider web is a very unreliable way of breaking it. But still, on average, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think I'm just going to break it with the Ray of Frost. Alright. So I'm casting. Going to cast haste. Blade Ward. And then I'm going to make the spider web go away. Or maybe not. I can do that twice because of haste. And then
Time for mercy.
take it. Alright. Combat and shoot. Already at half hit points. That's a start. Okay. Right. We don't want to trigger unnecessary attacks of opportunity. But I hope she's going to stay. She's not. Because I probably am going to try to beeline her for this. Because I'm very worried that the concentration is going to break. Even if I feel that Elsa has a very strong concentration security. Okay. So I don't care too much if Shovel dies. A lot of them cornering. So the aim here is to capitalize on what I can do, and what Elsa can do is she has some kind of at least decent single target attack with the amulet that adds the charisma modifier, as well as the inherent background from the white cold ancestry, which adds the damage. So getting wet on the Spider Matriarch in a good turn should enable me to do the shenanigans that I'm looking for at this point, which means that I'm going to be jumping here. I think I need the water spell to hit her. The water spell has a very low range, so I don't think I can actually reach her this turn. Then we're going to do something else. Need to get out of the range from these guys. Probably going to twin spell these guys like this, and the Gossamer Tomb from afar though, but still the Gossamer Tomb and bouncing off the walls. And then we're just going to give her one more Ray of Frost with the meta magic. There we go. And she gets to the web. Yeah. So probably with the action it's going to be water, and then I'm going to destroy the web after this, or maybe. See what happens here. I like it how they all attack at the same time. I mean, it should be some kind of turn order to that. Let's see if we can't get her to fall down instead, rather. 60 damage, reliable, 31 hit points. And then at this point, do I even want to bother with the water spell? I mean, I do want to do that for the fun of it. When I extend the spell, I basically double the duration of all of those abilities. You could also extend spell with haste, which in hindsight probably is a pretty good idea if you're not twinning it. doubling the length is, in hindsight, probably something you want to do. Because that is just, yeah, let's not get into that discussion. I'm going to cast water on her here. Making her wet. And then the 2d6. Still, the problem with the ice knife is that it's just very unreliable. When she falls down here, it seems a little bit like you just can't hit her with anything that has a direct line of travel, which makes it a little bit tricky. So I think I'm going to attack the spiderlings here. Oh, wait, let's just spend some of those spell slots just for the fun of it. Oh, such a worthless spell. I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to not go into the ice, but stay here. It is absurd how good that ability is. I mean, the fact that you can increase the haste duration for 10 turns. I've never thought about that. It's just absurdly good. We have access to hurting her. Nope. She is wet, but she's on the other side of the aisle. No? I guess not. So that means I'm going to jump into safety. Oh, it hits me. Yeah, let's go. With the shield spell, which is just such a strong ability. I think I want to save my last 3 sorcery points for the quicken spell, for the value. If I get the chance to, even if this is a little bit disproportional to what I need. And here she comes. Yeah, and she's still... The Spider Matriarch obviously is still suffering from the fact that I've got the... Doesn't even show here. The shield spell running, which should increase my armor to something insane. Oh yeah, there we go. Right. And now we've got the haste, I've got the quicken spell, I got the Spider Matriarch with the wet condition, so what can go wrong? What can go wrong? Well, let's try to beam her down, see what happens here. 26 damage. That's a little bit of a low roll. Goes to 16 and then it adds modifiers. Okay. And again. And there we go. This was disappointingly easy.
Excellent.
Seeing as this is probably a long rest situation. Elsa is definitely online, so it was, and probably also I'm using the character slightly better, but the level 6 sorcerer seems to work relative to her prior power, in my opinion at least, a little bit in the same way that the sword bard gets like fully online already at level 6. I'm not disappointed, I have to say. Okie dokie. So now the plan is I'm just going to loot the stuff from this area and just finish this room. And then I'm going to proceed to move all of the 7 characters to the Grim Forge, where I'm going to fight Grim 7 times. So I would say, kind of in conclusion, I mean, yes, this encounter is not very difficult. And yes, the Gossamer Tomb seems very, very, very dangerous at first. And then once you get around to navigating the whole thing, it's easy. Some of the items that I was using trivializes the encounter a little bit. The Helm from the Crash, the one that gives you the Smite of the Graceless, the radiant damage, return damage, grossly overpowered for this, for sure. But other than that, having critical strike immunity, I think is a pretty good thing, seeing as the Spider Queen likes to dish out 28 or more poison damage per turn. So if she hits you, obviously, it's very, very nasty. But the base items, the Ring of Poison protection on any character that you're playing down here, at least in solo, I think it's a very good idea. And then having a decent armor class as well, I think is necessary.